Hey guys, what's going on and welcome to a brand new video. This is going to be your preview, of course, for the Leeds United vs Fulham game as we play Fulham at the weekend. Premier League action is back, of course, after the FA Cup weekend. So we are back, and before we get into the preview and talk about injuries and stuff, I'm going to talk about Buenanotte just quickly and just say I'll be making that video when it's fully announced, which will probably be tomorrow. So there might be a video out tomorrow about Buenanotte. I'm going to wait till it's actually announced by the club, and then I'll make a video on it. So you guys don't have to ask me. That's when it's going to happen. I know about it, and I think quickly, good signing, good depth and all that, and let's get into the preview anyway. Let's just get into the preview. So Leeds United play Fulham, and let's go back and talk about injuries. Daniel Farke revealed in the press conference. Sebastian, of course, born now, better than expected. So better than expected, back in training yesterday. So it looks like he won't definitely not start this. He'll definitely not start this game, or he might not be even on the bench because he's only just back in training. Should be, oh, there we go, should be available. If I read the next line, I would have got the answer. Should be available. So he'll probably be on the bench, Bornell. Bogle's back in training yesterday as well. Just Daniel James on his way in rehab, not too far from team training. So Dan James will be back in team training in not that long either. And that's another option that we can have in that front too, off the bench. Dan James could be a massive option off the bench in that front too. I don't think he starts like at all this season, which is sad because of how good he actually was in the championship for us. But when he comes back fully fit, I think that front two position off the bench is going to be where we're going to use him, trying to get him behind, or if we change formation in game and play him on the wing. But anyway, let's just get into the game against Fulham and talk about Fulham, not Dan James. But yeah, Leeds United, of course, play Fulham at the weekend. Let's go through our last 6 meetings against Fulham. So the last 6 meetings we've actually had, the last game was that 1-0 loss where Goodmanson scored that own goal in a game which deserved to be a 0-0. Like, we played well defensively and it deserved to be a 0-0. Not much happened, and then we just scored an own goal and lost the game. Hopefully we can get that back on them in this game and actually win and take some 3 points. You know, the 3 points they stole a point. You know, they really, it should have been a point each. In the other game, it should have been 0-0. But they ended up winning with a bit of luck because of our defender in Goodmanson headering it in his own net. Hopefully we get that back with a win. But yeah, the last time we played them was the 1-0 loss. Before them was a 2-1 loss. Before them was a 2-0 loss. So we've actually lost the last 3 games against Fulham. Scratch that, we've lost the last 4 games against Fulham, with before that being a 3-2 loss. Before that, we won on penalties in the EFL Cup. And before then was a 2-1 Leeds United win back in 2021. So we've actually lost the last 4 games in a row in the league and the cup, because, of course, they beat us 3-2 in the league. They beat us 2-0 in the cup, and then the other 2 were the league games of the 2-1 and then the 1-0 this season. So they've won 4 out of the last 6, and we've won 2 out of the last 6. They scored 9 goals in the last 6 games. We've only scored 5. So when I hear people talking about going into this game, and I've seen Leeds fans say things like, oh, Leeds should win this game. And I'm like, no, firstly, Fulham's form. We're going to talk about Fulham's form. But you look at their form and how good they've been. They're up in 9th place right now. We'll go through their recent form. So in their last 6 games, they are 1-4, lost 2, and drawn 2, sorry. They're unbeaten in their last 6 games with 4 wins and 2 draws. So when people try and say, oh, we should be beating Fulham, it just makes no sense because Fulham's form is better than ours, and they're actually performing very well. They've won 4, drawn 2. They beat Forest. They beat Forest 1-0. They beat West Ham 1-0. They drew with Palace 1-1. They drew with Liverpool 2-2. They beat Chelsea 2-1. And then in their last game in the Cup, they beat Middlesbrough 3-1. So their form's been good. 4 wins in the last 6 with 2 draws in there. Fulham looking good. As I said, 9th place in the league at the moment. They're doing very well. And they're a team that, you know, if we do lose to them, I'm not going to be upset. Like, a lot of Leeds fans I've seen, like, say things like, we should be winning this match, as I said, and I just don't understand that because Fulham are a very good team and we're playing very well. This season, Fulham have got 9 wins, 4 draws, 8 losses on 31 points, while we're in 9th place, while we're all the way in 16th place with 5 wins, 7 draws, and 9 losses on 22 points. So they have a 9-point gap on us. Their performances, they've been playing very well. Of course, you'd say the 2 standout players for this game, one on either side. If you're going to name a standout player, it'll be for Leeds United, Brendan Aronson, and then for Fulham, you'd say Harry Wilson. So it kind of feels like Brendan Aronson versus Harry Wilson at the weekend, both of them in absolute form. Wilson's in more form, you know, because he's been doing it longer than Aronson, but Aronson's starting to get into the form of his life, basically, for Leeds United in the last couple of weeks since that Liverpool game, the home one where he came off the bench. But yeah, Wilson, of course, we could have got on loan and all that. We tried to sign him. We tried to sign him, you know, on deadline day. That never happened, and you're looking at that as like, he's going to score against us, isn't it? Like, it's going to be one of those where, oh, we were supposed to sign him, and then he's going to score against us when we do play them. So you just feel like that's what's going to happen. So going into this game, I think we should go into the starting 11 and how I think we'll line up. I think Perry starts in goal. I think Perry keeps his spot in goal. I know a lot of people do want to see Darlow. I just don't see that happening. I think Perry's going to keep his spot in goal. So Perry in goal, because I don't think Darlow did enough or had anything really to do in the cup game to say he deserved to start. Your back three, I think we're going to go Rodon, Strauch, and Biol as your back three. I think that stays the exact same because Biol in the middle of that three. Your fullbacks, I think, is going to be James Justin and Goodmanson. As Bogle still, I don't know if he's going to be 100%. I don't think he'll start Bogle in this game. I think James Justin will start because I think when Bogle's back, I think there'll be one game where he's on the bench, before getting straight into the starting 11. He won't be like straight into it, in my opinion. So James Justin will start on the right back and Goodmanson starts at left back. You're then going to have your midfield three. Of course, you're going to have Ampadu in the and you're going to have Ampadu in the 6, and then you're going to have your 2-8s, where it kind of depends where we want to go with this game because of how good Aronson played against Newcastle in that front two. Do you play Aronson in the 8 or do you play him up top next to DCL? It's one of those things where, depending on what you want to do in this game against Fulham at home, I'm actually going to say Ampadu's going to start. So Ampadu's going to start in the 6. Stack's going to be in the 8. And I think next to him is going to be Aronson in the other 8. I think we move Aronson back to the 8 position. I know he was great and scored 2 goals in that front 2 position next to DCL. But I think he goes back to the number 8 role, which I think is his best role in the centre mid position. And then I think the front 2, we're going to go with DCL and I think Mecha. I think DCL and Mecha start in the front 2. I think that's our best front 2 right now. It will change once the Buonanotte thing happens, and I might say, let's just play Aronson in that front 2 and then play Buonanotte behind or whatever happens. But at the moment, with what we've got, I think Mecha and DCL is our best front 2 option that we can go with, while having Aronson in the 8, because Aronson has to be in the team, whether you play him up top, which means if you play him up top with DCL, you're going to either have Tanaka. For the home games, I think it'll be Tanaka, and away games, it'll be Gruev. So I think it depends on what you want to see. Do you want to see Aronson up top with Tanaka in that midfield 8 position? Or in this game, do you want to see Mecha in the front 2 with DCL and have Aronson in the 8? I'm going to say we do Mecha. So it's going to be Mecha DCL. So let's go through the lineup again of what I chose. Perry, Rodon, Bogle, Strauch. Sorry. Rodon, Biol, Biol. Let's start that again. Oh my God. Perry in goal. Then your centre backs is Strauch, Rodon, and Biol. Goodmanson left back. Justin right back. Midfield 3 of Ampadu, Stack, and Aronson. That's how I think we'll go with. And then Mecha and DCL in the front 2. That's what I think we'll go with. I'm going to go with the score prediction. I think we're going to win this game. It's going to be a tough game. And as I said, I don't think this game is going to be easy. I think it's going to be a very tough game. But I think the Ellen Road atmosphere will get us over the line in this game. And I think we're going to win it 2-1. A very close 2-1 win for Leeds United, where goal scorers will be, I think Harry Wilson's like a guaranteed goal scorer for them just because of everything that happened in the summer and stuff in the transfer window about, oh yeah, we might get him, and then that didn't happen. So I do feel like he's going to score against us. And Leeds United, I think it's going to be Aronson and DCL. Why not? DCL and Brendan Aronson both scoring. Leeds United win the game 2-1. As I said, I think it's going to be a very tight game where it could be 2-1 either way or even a 1-1 draw. And I'll take a draw, but I'm going to predict a win. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. What would be your starting 11? Any changes you would make that I said? I think the only change people would probably make is maybe Okafor in the front 2 or Aronson in the front 2 and playing Tanaka in the 8. And that's the only kind of changes you really would make if you want to change it up a bit. And they're the only real changes. Maybe Bogle, but I just don't think he'll start. But let me know in the comments down below what you think. Let me know your score predictions and who you think is going to score for Leeds United. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.